So when you get your bow, your limb is going to come fully assembled, both your limbs, and it's going to be ready to put in your handle and go shoot it. But I'm going to show you how all that works. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these bushings and we're going to put them in the limbs. The standard Bob Lee limb has the same style bushing, they're just a little bit shorter. But these bushings here have a longer shank than our standard bushings on our bolt-up models. It's got a bushing with about 1.25 inch shank and a bushing with about a 1/2 inch shank. The longer of the two bushings is going to go the farthest towards the end of your limb. And the shorter of the two bushings is going to go in the other hole, just like so. These bushings aren't glued in, they're not pressed in, they're just form fit, and they'll come right out if you want them to, just like that. But they fit nice and snug. The next item we have is a gasket. This is just a plastic gasket with adhesive on one side. I'm going to peel off this, expose the adhesive. It's got two pre-drilled fitted holes. They're going to slide right over the top of the limb, and the holes are going to go where the bushings are. I'm going to put that on there like so. Make sure it looks good, you know, nice and even, no material hanging over anywhere. We're ready to put our wedge on here. This is what we're calling a wedge. This is a machined aluminum part. It's got a dovetail angle on the bottom. It's got drilled and tapped holes in the top for your bolts. And along the bottom side, there's these two spring-loaded detent balls. And you'll see why those are important here in a moment. This wedge is going to be attached to the bottom of your limb. And essentially, you are making this wedge a part of your limb. I mean, it's all one piece at this point. And you're ready to put the bolts in. We're going to put the bolts through the bushings, and we're going to tighten them down. Now, in terms of how tight to get these, it's very similar to our bolt-up model. You really want to protect your fiberglass, so you don't want to go too tight with the bolts. As you can see, when I'm tightening these bolts up, I'm going to go tighter until we get snug. And by snug, that means you can't go anymore without forcing it. So right about there, I'm snug. That's it. I can't go anymore, and if I did, I'd really have to crank down on it. So we're going to do the same thing for this longer bolt. We're going to tighten it down. We're going to keep going tight, and right about there it stops. I can feel it. I don't really need to go any farther than that. So that's tight enough. So now you got your bolts tight, you got your gasket, your bushings, your wedge. You are ready to put this limb in the handle. For your limb, you are going to wrap your hand around the top of the limb where the bolts are. You're going to wrap your hand over these bolts, just like that. And you're going to hold the limb just like this. The handle, you're going to hold away from you. And you are going to slide this limb into this handle. Okay. When that wedge gets all the way in that riser, it's going to seat itself and you're going to hear a snap. And that's those balls locating where they should be, and that lets you know, hey, my limb's in there as far as it should be. So this limb's on here. We're going to do the other one the same way. And hold it just like I did. And the holding, the way you hold your limb and your riser is just to help you not scratch your bow. So we're going to put this one in just like the other. Now, the bow is ready to string at this point.